Alright, this is the first look of S3410 series of FS company, I can say gigabit network switch. And as you look at in here, it is reset factory default. One thing you should keep in your mind, the default password, the default IP address of this switch is 192.168.1.1, and the default username and password is admin. So the default username is admin, lowercase, and the password is admin, lowercase. So admin. Here's the place where you can reset the password. We are not using the default password. All right. I'm going to change the default admin password. So the first prompt was how we can change the default password. All right. As you look at in here, this is the front, or this is the dashboard of S3410 series. Manageable switch. It is gigabit and it does come with a fiber connection as well. Alright, if you look at the screen in here, you can see that we have SFP, which is dedicated for fiber connection, fiber to fiber. And meanwhile, if you look at in here, we have a 2324, 2324. Either we can use 2324 as a copper, or if we have a fiber, we can connect 23 and 24 port of this switch as a fiber as well. So one of the scenario that I recently implemented with one of a friend of mine, he purchased this switch, was that I configured the 23 and 24 as a fiber connection in between two switches. Okay, let's come to the setting. This is very important. When you come to setting in here, if you look at in here, we have a place where we can change the time zone as well. If you want to change the time zone, you can change the time zone as well. So it's based on where is your location. I will pick the east because I live in the east side. I will save it. All right, I just saved this one. Here is the place where you can so web management password. When you log in through web, you can change the password, remember that. And then in the bottom, when you see in here is a telnet password. So telnet password is, just give me 1 second. If you have for example, if you want to telnet, let's say I have 192.168.1.10. if I want to do the telnet, there you go guys, I can do the telnet as well. But if I want to change this password, this is a telnet, this is through the terminal they can access, and this is the web. Here is the web console. So let me type main and I change the password. All right, so we have to change the password. Let's say change it to something else. This is the console. So sometime I've seen some of the network engineer, they love to work using command line interface. As you notice here, I changed the password, show running config. In here you can see what is going on inside this switch. So this is how you can access using command line interface. So we're gonna change these things as well. So this is how you can access. Log out. Log out is not here. We can say exit. All right, beautiful. So let's create a user by the name of John. Username. I think the username is admin. Let's say admin. It is admin. Old password. Let's type the new password. So I type the new password. Beautiful. This is how you can change the web management password. All right, let's come back to setting. So we were in the password section. We're changing everything. Reset. If something doesn't seem fine with you and you think like, you know what, let's configure the switch all over again, there is an option where you can reset factory default. So reset factory setting. If you want to reset, this is how you can reset. Export current configuration. If you're happy with the current configuration, I can say export it. So what I have done in here is that I saved the configuration file. So I'm very happy with this switch. I don't want to reset factory default, but my aim was to copy the configuration. This is how you can copy the configuration. People say that, hey, once this switch configuration is finished, make sure to take a backup of the configuration. This is how you can take a backup of this one. So I have n.txt file. If I want to restore it, I can easily restore it as well. Enhancement. Guys, here is the portion where you can specify other people can access uh, the switch through the web base using HTTPS or HTTP. Log in timeout. If I don't do anything using this page right now, after 10 minutes, this page gonna be automatically sign out. That's a beautiful thing, because from the security standpoint, the 10 minute is, I wish there was a 5 minute, but I wish there was a 1 minute, because if I don't need anything, it's just automatically should like let me out, or we can say log out. It's almost a logout. Location, you can specify the location as well if you want. If you doesn't want, it doesn't matter. But sometime that's required. SNMP. In this section, you can configure SNMP version 2 and SNMP version 2 and version 3. So what is the SNMP? SNMP is a server. This switch is not a server. So this switch is that if you have a SNMP, whether you're using Linux operating system, Microsoft operating system, which is only designed for the SNMP, means you want to send any news, anything's happen inside this switch should goes to that server. Let's say the location has headquarter and the SNMP community is let's say S3410 core. This is a core switch, and the IP address of my SNMP server is 172.17.17.1. This is my SNMP IP. Save it. There you go. I just configured this one, and now if I go to my SNMP server, what I'm going to do is I will assign this IP address 192.168.1.10, and of course the community or trap community is S3410 core, and I will easily get any information if anything happened inside this switch. So a point should be noted. We have a version 3 as well, the most enterprise one. Version 3 does come with a password. I would say, let's say the password is ABC at 1234. ABC at 1234. So if I go to my SNMP server using version 4, then I have to type the password as well in order to identify. Save. Server is the same. Alright, configuration successfully saved. And DNS. The DNS is like, the question is, what is the purpose of DNS in here? The purpose of DNS in here is if we want to access internet using this switch. It is for the switch. I want to add another switch. I want to add another DNS. 4.4.2.2. This is the DNS. Alright, let's come to setting once again. I think we have covered for the setting, everything about the setting. Let's come to upgrade. Guys, we discussed about how we can upgrade the S3410 series of the gigabit Ethernet switch. We covered this one as well, so we don't have to go through this one. Let's come to the permission. In here, where you can add a user. So far, I have one user by the name of admin, and I will add another user by the name of John. Let's say John. Password is ABC at 1234. ABC at 1234. Alright, I would say save. Right now, I have one user by the name of John. I want to create another user. These are other administrator user. These are administrator user. If I want to log in this switch using John, I can easily access using John with the ABC at 123 password. So this is how you can create a user as well for assigning permission as well. Syslog or system log. Guys, if you look at in here, I can say my syslog server is 172.17.17.1. I say this is my syslog server, save it. So means if anything happen, it should go to my server. I don't want to see anything in here. Display system log. In here you can see what is going on inside the switch. If anything is happening with the port is has a choppy internet and you see the port is connecting and disconnecting, it automatically gives the all information here as well. Let's say update log. Update log you can see automatically. So right now this switch is only connected to another switch. There's not too much log, but in the corporate and enterprise in a big data center, probably once you log into here, you would recognize a lot of things and you have to figure out and fix it one by one. That is the important things. Then once you say update log, you can see what's going on in here. Meanwhile, when you go to syslog log server setting, so I said, hey, I do have a syslog server. You don't have to give me alert inside this switch. I just want this switch to just be a switch. Do not do any other things. If anything happen, the information goes to my syslog server. Okay. Detection. All right, guys. If we come in here, detection. What does it mean? Let's say uh, my switch IP address is 192.168.0.1.10, right? 1.10. This is how you can ping something. I want to ping my switch. There you go, guys. If you look at in here, I can easily ping. If you want to, let's say, if you want to ping something else, whatever you want to ping, using this switch, if you want to ping the gateway, sometimes you would say that, you know what, let me see something is wrong with the gateway. It's a troubleshooting standpoint. You can ping a gateway from here as well, gateway. So if you're not familiar with the gateway, that's a different scenario. But the thing is that you can ping the modem IP address from here as well. If you ask the internet service provider, hey, do you mind to tell me what is my IP? So you can ping from here to your ISP. If you set up the DNS properly and if you set up the default route properly. Remember, there's two things important. It's not like directly come in here and start pinging. You will definitely receive a drop because the switch is not configured properly. Remember that. This is important. So I just ping is for troubleshooting, see what's going on. Trace. I would say that if I go to, for example, 8.8.8.8, this is a concept, just remember 8.8.8.8. I would say it gave me two time period. Trace, what does it mean? The trace means like I'm going to access Google server. I'm going to access Google server. So I want to trace where the request goes. For example, if I want to ping a Google from here or trace from my computer to the router, and after that there's a firewall, and after firewall there's a modem. What's gonna happen? The trace will see like, okay, your first gateway is 192.168.1.1 hop. It will show in here. Let's say detect. I may receive a drop because my internet, yeah, I may receive a drop. But in here, if you look at in here, trace route, it shows where is the next hop. Where's the next hop? So the scenario is that it shows my router IP. Then it shows my firewall IP. And then it shows the modem IP. Then it goes to the ISP gateway IP. Then it goes to the another next hop. We can say the boundary IP of the one which is close to the Google server, and then it gives me the Google IP. Like, hey, this is how it goes. Sometime from the security standpoint, when you see that your computer is acting weird, probably you need to do trace. You have to do trace to make sure that where your request goes. For example, my gateway is 192.168.1.1. If somehow I see the first hop com is 192.168.1.100, means, oh my god, something happened. My computer has been hacked or whatever is going on, but my gateway has been changed. It's supposed to be 1, but now it is 10. So just remember that this is from old hen standpoint. This is very important. But here's another thing. Most of the firewall nowadays, built-in factory default, trace is blocked. You cannot trace it. Remember that, because it is good for you, but it is also good for the hacker as well to trace where your request going. That's why the trace is blocked. I'm happy to trace is blocked. All right, as you notice in here, port number 1 is okay, mean it's detected. Something is connected to port number 1. But let's click on port number 2. If I click on port number 2, it is open but it's not detected. Mean nothing is connected to this port. This is how you can use this feature. It is okay, I like it, but if you want to know like which port is belong to which one, which port is empty, which port is not. So this is the feature about the cable detection to make sure cable is detected or not. So web CLI. All right, web CLI is like almost if we want to telnet. If you remember, guys, we telnet this switch, and meanwhile we can do whatever we want using web CLI command line interface. Let's say show running config. If I click here, when you see here, it is the same as we are using the command line interface. Okay, guys, and the next section, what we're gonna do is we're gonna configure everything from home, VLAN, port, PV setting, SSH, device VLAN, and restart the switch if needed.